Well, I'm very grateful I don't have to translate the song that's in the stands right now. But we get this one underway. Senegal in all red, Uganda in their traditional black with the stripes. The captain, Ivan Magom, involved in there. They look to lace this one out, and Timothy Kisiga getting a very difficult introduction to this particular matchup.
The ball was unplayable from that ruck, but I think it's supposed to be a Uganda ball there. Once you receive a kick and you gather it, but you cannot play it afterwards. It's supposed to be a scrum with the team that was in possession. Perhaps the referee had a better view of that, and maybe the ball was lost on the floor by the man that was supposed to pick it in the number 9 jersey, Conrad Wanyama.
Tense moment here for Uganda. Not in a place where they would want to be.
Just watch their defense. They've pushed the number 12 and number 13 inside to defend in that number 10 channel. Better tacklers than the number 10 and good defenders, but Senegal have very good attack of their set pieces, so we'll get to see how they shape up for that.
Now look at that, properly digging in. That is a real test of strength, and that should be a knock-on. Referee lets it carry on. Uganda, of course, having the advantage here, and the referee letting the game continue. So it's the men in black have possession, as always. Conrad Wanyama getting stuck in. Someone told me he's aptly called the master of the dark arts. And Uganda will get the benefit right at the halfway line.
Of course, in short there you see the number 11 jersey. We will have to talk a lot more about the impact of Philip Okrach not playing today. His absence with a groin injury, you recall in the match against Burkina Faso, he played with a strapped thigh. His absence today means that Timothy Kisiga shifts to number 15 and Joseph Oyed comes off the bench to number 11. It's interesting changes. All the three play number 15 in the local competitions and where they are based. So that innovation is going to be interesting to see how it pans out against this Senegal team.
An interesting line in from Kaba Sisse. Senegal try to muscle their way through. Losing that ball. Santos Senteza, popularly known as Santo in the Ugandan circles. Real fan favorite for many. Ball coming through, dropped, securing it very quick here, Uganda. It's a bit of a tense Uganda technical bench.
You know, Alex Mobiru, one of the legends of that team, a veteran in the hooker position, which Uganda is still struggling to find a replacement after he hung up his boots.
Kept the knots.
Maybe he's doing his part in ensuring that this new generation get the knots as well.
Well, a chance here now for Senegal to launch forward, and it's their fullback here trying to take the whole run on his own. Alassane Sanya runs into a very eager Conrad Wanyama Wandera. Senegal still in possession. Chance here. Yaye letting the ball flow. Good air once again getting in. This could be a good chance for Senegal. Alassane Sanya. Ball is picked up by Timothy Kisiga, and the referee's whistle had already gone there. That was good play from Alassane Sanya, really making his impact on the game here. That the right center there.
You can see his combination with Mamadou Ndiaye. It's going to be important for Senegal to attack in those open spaces, because Ndiaye just picks his runs. He started this move on the right flank, breaking that line, and then the work rate to come onto the open side and set up his center Alassane Sanya, catching the Uganda team off guard. That quick play where the fullback joins that line between the centers is going to be critical for Senegal today, and they have the chance to strike fast early on.
Mamadou Ndiaye, one of those that did manage to get the penalties in during the midweek. And now at the moment, stepping up to try and get the first points on the board. Takes the kick. And once again, the winds of Nambole are not being kind.
It's an unusual miss from DI.
Totally miscued this time round.
It's unusual, but Uganda are lucky to get away with it. All the games they've played in this tournament, they've conceded first. They've had to come from behind.
True.
It wasn't enough against Zimbabwe. They did just about enough to win against Burkina Faso, and now they're faced with Senegal, who struck fast against their opponents in the last two games. So, good contest between these two.
Conrad Wanyama putting in a formidable run there, picking it up from the captain, Demba Kane. But that is Conrad Wanyama. Had a lot of criticism from the fans on Wednesday for not being swift enough. Well, clearly today comes in with speedster mode.
Maybe that's perhaps the criticism that is going to wake up the entire team, not just Wanyama as well, because Uganda is not the most physically imposing of teams. The West Africans, Senegal, are a prolific and very dominant side in those physical battles. Playing a slow ball as the number 9 does not give your team a chance to at least reduce that size disadvantage. And Wanyama now has to step up the gear like he has just done with that first carry.
Well, with the absence of Philip Okorach, the task to kick falls upon the pirate ship captain, Ivan Magom. Formidable for those that watch local Ugandan rugby. He is quite the thing to deal with. Going for his signature stance, measures his distance. Good kick! And it will count. Once again, delivering on the front and getting Uganda's very first try, actually very first points on the board. Ivan Ata Magom makes his mark.
Magom has not been that accurate off the kicking tee at 0% from the previous games from 2 attempts, but his first today is clamped straight through the middle for Uganda, and maybe a change in the tide, as for the first time in this Rugby Africa Cup, Uganda lead first. They score first in the match that they've played.
3 Uganda, Senegal 0, 7 minutes on the clock. Hardly any definition of what to go by. Big knock there from Uganda. Magom leading, good switching stance, and brought to the ground there very quickly. Innocent Thomas Gwokto. Had a very beautiful family moment in the first game there, as his elder brother was involved in play. Philip Okorach handing him the ball as he scored that try. And then for those that were not able to see, someone on social media, their younger sister who plays for the Gazelles, that's the national basketball team, Abe, was celebrating. Brilliant family.
Yeah, sporting heritage in the Okorach family. There's not many of those in Uganda, and I would presume across the continent as well.
Quick release for Senegal, looking to make headway here. Faka lets the ball release. Brilliant knock in. Just digging in. Uganda making it very difficult. Suman watching here as a chance comes up for Sanya. Goes ahead to make headway. Ball released out here quickly. Lom. Also the ground, trying to shake it loose there. Charles Uhuru, captain of the reigning 15s club, the Heathens, the Platinum Heathens.
Charles Uhuru, it's the combination of the tackler and the juggler. Once the tackler gets out of the way, you leave an open door for one of your big men to get his hands on the ball, and Charles Uhuru was just right there to earn that turnover for Uganda. But he nearly had a moment where he quick tapped the ball and lost it to Ndiaye there, but just about rescued by the whistle.
Those a bit unfamiliar with rugby would think you're doing a bit of a rhyme, the tackler and the juggler. Oh well. Sunday, a little hazy, not much cloud cover, the sun coming out, not a lot of heat bearing given how hot it can be in the Ugandan settings, especially at midday. Line in, delivered. Santos Senteza. Wycliffe holding on to the ball. Has ply his trade here for the Platinum Heathens. Ivan Athamakom releases the ball, and referee, not amused, calls an infringement in favor of Uganda.
Makes the Senegal ball. Ivan Magomo caught between two decisions, to carry or to pass. He loses that ball just marginally forward. It's a different stance from Uganda, the way they've started these first 10 minutes. Different from how they started against Zimbabwe. They were totally asleep and outclassed in the first half. Burkina Faso did the same against them, catching them still on the blocks. But now they seem to have learned their lessons against Senegal. But Senegal are also a team that strike early in their matches. We saw how they did against Kenya.
Well, one way or another, I might say the comments that were made by the head coach, Fred the Don Mudola, after that win might have sparked a nerve. He still said he was pretty unimpressed and expected more from his lads. And I think at the moment they really took those words to heart. Infringement here.
The Ghana backline caught offside at that scrum. Love to see what Senegal do. We've seen the finalists Algeria call for the kicking tee just behind halfway. This is a little bit outside Diaye's range, but he can pull the shot and level matters, or just go to the corner and apply pressure.
It looks like it will be the corner and the pressure that will probably count here. Very antsy Ugandan bench, if I might dare say.
Yeah, it's a do or die for both teams, because last year's finalists, Kenya and Namibia, are playing the bronze medal match 3 and 4, and for the seeding in next year's Africa Cup to qualify for the Rugby World Cup, number 3 will face number 6, number 4 will face number 5. It's between a rock and a hard place where these two, Senegal and Uganda, are.
Senegal contesting this one. Still have possession. Bit of a fallout. Referee letting it carry on. Conrad Wanyama nearly caught offside there. Referee directing traffic, and Senegal gaining in territory.
I think Uhuru's coming from the side in the number 4 jersey. Yes.
The referee calls him out. You definitely had that spot on.
Shout to Uhuru there. The maul was long and the ball was at the back of the maul. The only way he was going to be able to contest legally was going straight through the middle, and that desperation in defense has cost Uganda and given away a penalty. But Diaye has overcooked this one, kicked it straight into touching goal. Uganda have a choice.
As always, Conrad Wanyama, the eager beaver, with the ball, vice captain here of the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Earlier on, we were waxing lyrical about the absence of a certain Philip Wokorach, but there's also the 8th man that is currently missing from the squad of Senegal, Abdul Karim Fofana, and might actually come into play.
It's been a tough tournament. World Rugby's, let me call them regulations or guidelines, suggest that you should have about 5 days minimum between test matches, but they played on Saturday, they've had to play again on Wednesday, and Sunday they are back at it. It's always going to take a physical toll on these players, and unfortunately Senegal without one of their greatest talismen at the back row, which is a strong standing point for them to build good attack and allow the rest of the team to play.
Ivan Apa Magom, possession, releasing his teammate Kisiga, back to the skipper, and they're trying to make their way here. Uganda, good release, ball kicked on. Conrad Wanyama wants to do this on his own, and Senegal serve themselves just in a nick of time. Antsy bench there, Michael Otto doesn't seem pleased at all with the proceedings there, but that was Uganda doing a poetry in motion.
Magomo and Chisika combining, and then that switch for Joseph Oyet. He's looking for Timothy Chisika on the support pass. Chisika looks like he's tripped on himself. on the attack, but Conrad Wanyama running a support line, and then Senegal just maintain possession, carry the ball back into their own in-goal scrum, Uganda.
Many times Uganda, especially in the first 2 days, have been criticized for supporting runs coming a little slow. Right now, it looks like Conrad Wanyama really out here to make amends. That was a brilliant run, and they get themselves a scrum inches away from the golden territory. Senegal will have to be on top of their game here. Uganda, very formidable at quick switch play. Blind side, open side.
I think Wanyama will try to make use of that short side, combining with his 8th man for that 8-9 pick, but good defense there from Asane Die to stop Alex Aturinda in his tracks before that 8-9 combination could be done.
Pushing for territory, gaining a couple of inches here. Conrad Wanyama looking to release, quick one here. Santos, Wycliffe Senteza, still on his feet, still battling out here. Secured, Wanyama lets it roll. Not picked up well, looking to kick, and Senegal could capitalize on the advantage here. A chance for an open run. This could be their opener. Mamadou Ndiaye capitalizing on a slip up here. Try time for Senegal.
Referee blows the whistle for a stoppage. There's going to be a check for this try. Wanyama's pass to Joseph Aredo, not the best. It bounces on the floor. Aredo attempts a cross kick. Ndiaye, was it a charge down, was it a knock forward, is a decision the referees will need to make. But either way, as he marches to the uprights, charge down it is. Mamadou Ndiaye, right place, right time. And the try is awarded for Senegal. What a break, what a change in momentum. And we mentioned his name, Mamadou Ndiaye, that he's one Uganda will need to watch for.
Clearly, instruction or warning not heeded at their own peril. 5 for Senegal. And you might want to make that 7 now for Senegal. Uganda 3. Hasn't taken long for Uganda once again to be on the back foot, honest.
It's the plague of starting late Uganda that they're suffering from. Uganda have struggled in these opening stanzas of the match, and barely a quarter of an hour played and they're back behind.
Seems to be the very...
Like we said at the start of the game, Uganda versus Senegal is always close, and you will need to take all the opportunities that you find. Maybe at the end of the day, across the 80 minutes, they will come around delivering the victory or subjecting you to an agonizing loss.
Looking to release here, and a quick drop in. Senegal will go all the way. Try time for Senegal. Alassane Sanya silencing the Ugandan crowd in the Mandela National Stadium. Well, if they thought this would be a walk in the park, Uganda may be finding themselves once again in a similar situation like they did during the last tournament, the Rugby Africa.
It's simple rugby, hands. Uganda caught short. They were outnumbered, a huge 3-man overlap on the outside, and Alassane Sanya didn't need an extra invitation to get over. But look at those hands from the men in the tight 8, and then the combination of the midfielders. Alassane Sanya through on the outside, being chased by Asman Mugira. There could only be one winner of that foot race.
I'll only tell you one thing, honest. Uganda will not want to see the review of that particular one. They totally looked at 6s and 7s. No clue at all where that was heading. And a chance now to add the extras. And yes, they do count. Uganda find themselves in a very precarious position. 17 Senegal, 6 Uganda. Good kick.
Uganda are conceding more points than they are putting on the board, and that's going to be very worrying for the hosts. They kick a penalty, they concede a try. They kick another penalty, they concede another try. At this rate, it's not going to be good news going into halftime.
Even a nursery kid will tell you that arithmetics can only point to very bad returns. A kick for a try will only end one way. And as they normally say in Uganda, platinum or premium tiers.
Yeah, it's interesting how...
Well, trying to be a little bit wily. Ahmed Sal just doesn't pan out, and quick high five there from Mamadou Cissé. There, losing prop. Yeah.
Only see rarely that teams opt for a line out when the kick is putting it straight into touch, but Sal there is aware of the regulations, run straight to halfway. You have the option of scrum at the center or line out at halfway and just throw a forward pass. I think Uganda should have got the ball for a forward pass or a line out, but we'll have the scrum Senegal ball.
Not the first time that Senegal are tactically aware of the role. If you do remember on match day 2, quickly charging down a late take from the conversion and going ahead and taking it. And Uganda now looking to drag the ball in, looking to drag it in. Naturinda, right time for Uganda. Question of when rather than if here.
Good work from the big men in that scrum. Alex Naturinda keeping the ball at his feet, but it is that front row. Nathan Wambale at hooker, Santos Sentes and Asmat Mukera with their tight five. Robert Aziko and Charles Uhuru, they've done all the hard work to push a much heavier front row and tight five of the Senegalese back 5 meters. Look at all that energy running straight through, all 8 men pushing. But you can see Senegal's number 6 pulling out, and that gives Uganda the advantage, the momentum in their favor. And at that point, Senegal were just passengers in this ride for Alex Naturinda to the whitewash. Puts the finishing touch, right time Uganda.
Man of the Mountain stance once again from Ivan Athamagom. Explosive character on the pitch, very soft-spoken often. Moonlights as a lawyer and has a lot of philanthropy work going on, but everybody popularly knows him for his leadership character and his impeccable boots when on the pitch as a rugby player.
Agum is one of those players you don't know how they will wake up and how they will carry themselves on the playing field, but on a good day, he can be an inspirational figure. He's in the conversation for one of the greatest players Uganda has ever had.
Undisputed there. I would totally concur with you. Delicate bounce. Ball eventually picked up here by Demba, captain, skipper, kicking for territory. And a few words you said earlier on, I think coming back right now, this time in a turnover phase, it looks like Senegal is actually rattled.
Yep. Uganda have camped long and hard in their own 22. That time spent there when you're defending, it wears you out. And the risk that goes deep to try and camp in Uganda's half, but Joseph Aredo's nearly 60-meter kick bounces into the 22, and they've only exited to just about the 22.
Nathan Bwambale's line in, not a good one for Uganda, and Senegal will look to capitalize, selling the dummy there. The ball still picked up, and Uganda will be kicking themselves in the teeth there.
Senegal.
Apologies being put in here at the moment by the man from the right lock, Robert Aziku. Still works in Uganda's favor. Big kick, gaining a bit of space. 38 minutes, just about 2 minutes away from that buzzer. And you could say, maybe Uganda might need an extra 5 minutes. They might have wanted to level this before the halftime because they've constantly been right there. It's not paid as much dividends as they would have wanted.
There's no option to level this game. They have to take the lead. A penalty puts them one behind. A try puts them one ahead. They need the 5 to go into the lead at halftime, Uganda.
And at the 22, they do have quite a chance. Re-strategizing, looking to utilize the open side. Battering in. Good play there coming in from Robert Aziku. Conrad Wanyama looking to use the blind side once again, breaking away. Poda, Alex Aturinda carries a few meters in.
Advantage Uganda now.
Magom, quick recycling of the ball. That was swift and decisive. Byron Oketayor brought down Uganda. Still in possession, but getting repelled here. And the referee had played advantage. Will now call it back here. Iga Beaver, as always, vice captain. That is Conrad Wanyama having something to say. The referee taking a minute to readjust his communication gear.
I think also his assistant referee Duncan Kioko from the Kenya Rugby Union had something to communicate to him in the middle.
Speaking about Duncan, one of the very well celebrated referees as far as East Africa is concerned, and hardly an instance where you have had his decision called into question.
He's a good referee, young as well, but rising quickly through the ranks. Uganda has a couple of young referees as well that are Kyoko's age. We have Umar Palikanda and Gonzaga Mayanja that have been playing assistant referee duties in this tournament. That's what we love to see with young men and women taking up these roles, not just as players but as match officials.
Heavy, bulked muscles on tents, as we do see the side end of Suma Asuman Mugerwa as the siren goes on to signal that the 40 minutes are done and we're into the last play. Can Uganda nick it? Will Senegal hold strong? Referee pointing out there that Uganda, well, probably took the cowardly way out here.
I think they slipped and ended up collapsing that scrum, but that would be the last play of the half.
That is half time. We're going to break. Senegal 17, Uganda.
A very interesting halftime to roll over as Uganda are trailing, but arguably have been the ones that have dominated the spell of play. Multiple times reigning right within the 22 area of Team Senegal, but not able to fully capitalize, and small slip-ups have actually come to really haunt them. As they head down to the tunnel, it is Uganda with a couple of things to think about if they still want that 5th place, and the Lions of Senegal quietly powering their way to the top. Senegal 17, Uganda 13, Rugby Africa Cup 5th place playoff. It's halftime. To the second half of the 5th place playoff. We're coming to you live here from the Pearl of Africa, popularly known to many other places as Uganda. This is the Nelson Mandela National Stadium. This is the host nation, Uganda, that are currently having a bit of a chase to do here. 17-13 is the scoreline as Senegal seem to roar supreme. My name is Jermaine Egesa, actually sitting, perched comfortably next to me, Ernest Akorebirunji, who, as many people in Uganda will acknowledge, and in East Africa, undisputed.
Thank you very much for the compliments, but the focus should be with the players on the field right now. Senegal have the statistical advantage over Uganda in terms of the scoreboard. They scored 2 tries, Uganda have only scored 1, but Uganda enjoyed that territory and possession, camping in the 22 for close to 15 minutes of the first half with ball in hand. Lots of questions to be asked about their efficiency, but they are doing well in making this an exciting contest.
Well, 40 minutes they do have here to put their mark on the game. If Senegal will allow them the breath of day. And the irony about Senegal is this is how they played their entire tournament, consistently looking wounded, consistently looking the underdog, and then somehow pulling one past you.
It's knockout rugby, that's what it's about. As long as you stay in the fight.
Balls. And The Ugandan fans trying to make the atmosphere as distracting, as unbearable as possible. Right at the edge of the 10-meter line of Uganda. Can he provide the goods? Yes, he does. And Senegal will make it 20 here. Uganda have 7 points to 6 to make amends.
Senegal started the second half strong as they had in the first. They had the first shot for points in the 4th minute. And now the second half, barely 2 minutes on the clock. And they've had the second shot. This one is successful and they extend their lead to a full try against Uganda.
Might be a little earlier on in the game, honest, but, well, I'll jump the button and go as a chance here for a quick break and looking to make his way. Mamadou Ndiaye looks to kick and chest. Timothy Kisiga says, "Thou shalt not pass." And the ball quickly secured. Uganda literally, quite literally, bailed out there.
Mamadou Ndiaye has been a man to watch the entire tournament. Somehow, he still manages to break through those lines.
Good carry now. Abosai lets this one roll. Kick and chase. Ball looking to drop out. Looking for the kick. Senegal seem to have come into this game well activated. In Uganda, well, if they need to get back into this game, they might want to do it sooner than later.
That's a brilliant kick from Abosai. He noticed that Uganda's entire backfield had stepped up on the line. Sends it backwards. A good bounce touch found inside Uganda's 22, and Uganda have been forced to make an early change, bringing on Jude Juko at number 2 in place of Nathan Bwambale. But Juko's first involvement on the set piece, line out not thrown straight, scrum Senegal. Possession changing hands quickly. How we ended the second half and where we ended the first half rather is where we shall start this one.
Well, the changes reigning in supreme, and looks like Tony Leneveux is the man that comes on here for Senegal. Also making a few switches of their own, trying to bring on more of their man mountains. There's a bit of a limp here, and probably could explain the switch up. Lamine Sile is the man that steps off. 44 minutes on the clock. Senegal 20, Uganda 13. Jumping the button, like I said, game, they'll tell you how quickly things could change. But Ernest, your overall thoughts on the Uganda team? Nobody, I would say, has the chance to sit on the microphone and follows the game as intensely as you do. Share with us.
They're working brilliantly, the Senegalese on attack, but that set play did not move well, and Uganda have just about managed to thwart that attempt away. But Uganda is, I mean, it's a privilege, like you're asking, it's a privilege to be in this position where I get to watch these players throughout the whole year. I get to talk about them throughout such big tournaments, some of whom I've played with, some of whom I've played against, some I've known as friends, some have become family. So it's a privilege, I should say, to see our national team at this level. But again, there's a demand for them to do better in these positions that they have when they play. The expectation is very high given the investment from the Uganda Rugby Union and how much work that they've put in. You would expect them to be in a better position, but 5th place is where they find themselves.
Not really boast of so many players that do ply their trade out of the country. Actually, off-head, I think I can only point off to Philip Wokorach.
Yes, Santos Senteza, rather Asman Mugera, and
for the Kebras.
Yeah, and a couple of others.
Apologies to my Kenya people. They will not forgive me for overlooking them as a rugbying diaspora.
Yeah, with Marco Moding as well. And Eliphaz among. There's quite a number of players.
The wear and tear is quickly going to begin to set in here for all these teams. 12 days of grueling, intense, high-octane competition. Ivan Magom makes the kick.
He's looking for that 50-22, but the bounce is not in his favor. There's a chase from Joseph Oyet.
Looking to scramble in here, and Uganda just might get something a little better, but it looks like Senegal do their homework right here. Yet they're directing traffic.
It's an open ball. I think Oyet has his hands on the ball.
Referee breaking it up here.
We need to take a look at that again. I think Oyet might have just about dropped the ball in front of the whitewash. Quick turn off a play. But that's...
Well, Uganda pulling together their synergy here. And referee feels maybe a little too enthusiastic here from the teams that have come through here. Really putting in a very delicate shift here. And you have to say, not underrated one bit. Probably the most priceless lesson some of these young lads have had.
Uganda caught offside at that.
The powerhouse making his debut for Uganda. Michael Otto comes on to take the place of his former teammate Santos Senteza. Both were at the Heathens. He now currently plies his trade for the Cobs.
In the stands, you can see the Rhinos players. They're so excited because one of the hottest prospects from 8th grade rugby, Arnold Ochen, has come on to make his debut in that number 23 jersey, and that's going to be his first carry of the ball. But I think we'll just have to wait to see how he does, having played with the under-20 last year. This year he's with the seniors, Arnold Ochen.
Uganda having a couple of youngsters being blooded in this tournament. Arnold Ochen, one of them. The other one, Paul Wilfred Kalunji, who we might have to wait a little longer to see, as he did make his debut on Wednesday. And Fred the Don Mudola really having his lads up to the task there. Shouts and chants coming in from the fans as Uganda put up what is popularly known as the wall against Senegal.
The players off the bench have come with some energy, and the fans have added that boost. Look at the work of Sol Chivumbi in contact there.
Senegal probably doing the smart play, getting that kick. Timothy Kisiga will look to retaliate in equal measure, looking to make sure it will be a bit of tennis. And there we do get a glimpse of Santos Senteza, who actually just came on. Asuman Mukerwa, as well as Nathan Asimire Bambale, all coming off. So the front three for Uganda exiting, and look like it's renewed vigor here for the Rugby Cranes. Sydney Gongodio coming on there as well for Mark Omode.
Evan Magom miskicks that kick for contest in the air, goes straight into touch. Senegal have won this kicking battle
so far.
There's been a few back and forth kicks, but at the end of the day, Senegal have possession on the line out, and it's inside Uganda's half. Just under half an hour left to play, and feels like even the energy on the pitch, in the stands, it feels like we've only just kicked off.
Yeah. Irrespective of where you're getting us right now, be it on Rugby Pass TV, be it on Rugby Africa on YouTube, be it on our proud partners, Kawowo Sport, who I might dare say arguably have crystal clear picture. Or you're catching us on the Afro Mobile app and of course on the channel in Uganda, the champ. Scrum. Vice captain here of the Rugby Cranes, Conrad Wanyama, who's been calling much of the play. Ball in hand, will now look to dictate play. The key objective right now for Uganda, first, is to gain territory, and the referee, well, probably sees a call in there. I might say maybe it's the quick change in the entire front row there, the loose head, the hook, and the tight prop all coming off and having a quick switch. So Uganda might want to adapt sooner than later.
Front row collapsed under the pressure. On possession, they had shaped up to go out wide with the back line, and they've not got that opportunity to play. We've seen a penalty by Ahmed Sal in this territory just 1 minute into the second half, and now a few minutes to the hour mark, he will have another opportunity to extend the lead. And if it wasn't worrying Uganda, this should concern them critically.
Immaculate preparations, articulate in setup, and now making his mark and onto the stands, measuring the wind, gathering the strength as the sound in the stadium goes into a cacophony. It's a chance for Abu, takes it, and yes, he nails it. Senegal add 3 to the mark, and now Uganda find themselves trailing by a solid 10 points.
From Ahmed Sol, who splits the posts, bringing the game to 23 for Senegal.
Worrying times for the host Uganda Rugby Cranes. They are under the pump from Senegal in this 5th place playoff.
As my guy who is the publicist, or the ex-com for publicist for Chadon Rugby Club Desire would say, it is crazy for Uganda. They really need to find their way back in here. What really perplexes for me, honest, is the fact that they've been on the front foot for the bigger parts of the game, but they find themselves trailing by 10 points.
It's the efficiency matters most. As you can see, the team have not yet set, but the line-out's already been taken by the tight 5. Such situations means the team does not play when they are prepared, and there's no time for that as well because the clock keeps ticking.
Juko in the hooker role right now, the one set to deliver the ball. Steps away here as there's a momentary medical break here afforded to Kadim Sise. Looks like as all rugby players are ready to soldier on, the Titan in him won't let him rest.
It's 20 minutes on the clock. I think Uganda still have enough time to put enough points to stage a heavy comeback in this game, but they need to up their efficiency. The first half was not efficient. They've not had any chance at points in this second. They need to make it count.
Line out good. Conrad Wanyama recycles, setting it on the motion here, trying to break his way forward. Good play coming in from Julius Opio. Another of the substitutes that got on during that interval. And here comes the skipper, getting it on here to Timothy Kisiga, who's brought down. Quick on the rush, vice captain Wanyama, held again by Kisiga, getting more and more involved in the play right now. Magom releasing, brought down Brian Wandera. Heavy tackle there. The referee cites an infringement. Uganda with the benefit.
That's more like it from Uganda. And interestingly, you can see that change in strategy from Uganda. Joseph Aredo is now playing more in the number 10 jersey. Ivan Magom is coming in as the second playmaker. But what a carry and run from Brian Wandera on the backing pass. Needs two men to bring him down, and they are slow to roll away. Penalty Uganda. Now they can get the scoreboard ticking in the second half.
If I might dare say, Ernest, Brian Wandera, you might want to write that name down. You'll hear a lot more about it in the coming days. Ivan Arthur Magom getting into the man of the mountain stance, looking to split poles and get Uganda their very first points on the scoreboard in the second half. It's in the background. The scoreboard continues to tick, and it will not count here. First falter here for the Rugby Cranes captain in this matchup.
Magwamo looked like he put a step just wide, and then he needed to bring the angle of the kicking foot back inside. Not enough for him to force the ball through the left side of the right upright.
Well, the kick allows Uganda once again to pick, and Arthur Magom gets it on. Timothy Kisiga, his teammate at the Stanbic Black Pirates here, looking held up at the halfway line, and Uganda battling to retain possession. Conrad Wanyama joins the fray. Good battling down, good play there coming in here from Saul Chifumbi. Getting it on, trying to get there on. Byron Oketayot breaks his way. Byron Oketayot looking to make a stance. Byron releasing here, and it will be a try on his debut. Arnold Ochen, try time.
Get in, Arnold Ochen. Welcome to the senior rugby cranes.
How many dream about this? How many would want to have this? How many pray for this moment? His very first time in the national colors. Ladies and gentlemen, he's here. Arnold Ochen.
It's his first touch on the ball as well. Look at that carry from Byron Oketayot. Breaks the first tackle. Arnold Ochen is on his inside, chooses to go back inside, or he's on outside, goes back inside to provide that supporting line. Oketayot commits, gives the young man and try time Uganda. This is going to be the start of a great career in the Rugby Cranes. Arnold Ochen.
I'll tell you one thing, Ernest, this is one of those moments that I would proudly, if I were Arnold Ochen, proudly make sure I have that replay and have it played in my house again and again and again. Arthur Ivan Magom makes it additionals for Uganda, and right now it's a 3-point chess and catch.
And all the hard work coming from Byron Oketayot, who has got off together.
Shocked Kenya in the first game, but the physicality couldn't hold for the 80 minutes and they fell short. Then they overcame their opponent in that was Cote d'Ivoire in the semi-final, in the placement semi-final. Another game that was grueling and physically tough to overcome. But you get to think, at this point, what is Senegal doing right? One, they are getting their players, not very many in their local competitions, playing in sevens, and then they've come here and played 15s rugby. They are calling their players who are best away from home in Europe, in France, in Portugal. They're getting them to come and play test rugby for the country. This is the start of one of those competitive phases for this country to come back to the top of Ugandan rugby. We know they've been there before, but looks like this feels more like a fresh start, and I think 5th or 6th place is a good return for their investment, but there's room and hope, and I think there's belief that they can do better.
I have absolutely no right, but well, I'm just going to go ahead as a commentator and shut my mouth. If there's one thing they need to work on, it's durability. I think they have everything in the bag for them. They just need to be able to realize, train for 100 minutes, win 80.
Yeah, it's those little things that you can do, but it takes time. It's the whole process. And if I should say maybe Project 2027 for the World Cup, or Project 2033 rather for the next edition in USA, maybe Senegal can set a realistic target for that and challenge.
A loud cheer here going out from the largely host 16th man, as Uganda do gain the referee's favor, and they go for a kick in here. 67 minutes on the clock, and the winds of Nambole once again reminding everybody of their ever-present stance. it's one thing, but I do dare say honestly, with the way we've been talking about the wins and how they've actually worked out, this might be a case study that many people may want to take on ahead of the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup.
It's going to be here as well, so if anything, all the teams will be picking lessons from the playing surface, from the conditions in Uganda. We have, I should say, one of the most gentle weather conditions on the continent. It shines, it rains, it's not extreme. The food is good as well, so the team have enough notes to go back home with as they prepare for next year's tournament. But as well, the competition that we've had here, there are some lessons that they can pick from. There are some pointers that they can take to build for a competitive tournament next year.
Mamadou Sarr, shot 19 here, stepping in for the man that has been filling the left lock position here. That is Lamine Silla.
It is actually number 5.
Oh, it's actually the correction, right lock. It is Bona Foul that steps off. Apologies there. Chance once again for Senegal to galvanize. Tricky times, 12 minutes left to play. What is the mindset right now for Senegal?
Keep Uganda as far away from your red zone as possible. They need to play in the right zone, Senegal. Force Uganda to play in their own half, and then you can grind it harder in those outside spaces, and then force maybe a penalty, get the scoreboard ticking again. But we all know, like we said at the start of the game, these matches, Uganda lead 3-1 against Senegal in their last 2-1 in their last 3 meetings, but the average score from all those games has been 26 all. It's as tight as ever.
1 step forward, 2 steps back. Could probably be the apt description. From wherever you're joining us in the world, be it on Rugby Pass TV, be it on Rugby Afrique, we are coming to you live here from the Mandela National Stadium. This is NBS Sport, championing Ugandan sport. Also coming to you on the YouTube flavor from the home of live stream rugby, Kawowo Sport. And in case you're on the go, then there's only one king for African content. That's the Afro mobile app. I do urge you, go ahead, download it, Google Play Store, Apple App Store. It's called Afro Mobile. You'll thank me later. Nice pickup here from Tisiga. Kick and go. Ooh, the bounce there. Presenting a very interesting stance, and Tisiga picking it up here from his own kick, and Uganda have a chance. Quick recycle, good play there coming in from Paul Kalungi. Taken away, Kalungi right now.
Back to the short side.
Taking on the scrum half duties. Once again, quickly arriving on the side, Kalungi. Lets it roll. Nice recycle. Oh, almost a nice recycle there, Brian Wandera.
Uganda have the advantage.
Kick and go.
Decides to tap and go.
Break. Brought down. Uganda to support. It's interesting today, as the chance builds up here for Uganda, that you do not have the fans chanting support. It's one word we have constantly had from the past 2 days. And there's a chance here for Uganda, and it looks like Paul Kalungi is insisting the captain should go to split.
Tony Ilanov has been found guilty of Senegal's infringements. He's the man that will spend the rest of this match in the sin bin. Uganda have the opportunity to level matters and then attack with the power play. But it's that quick ball that's played by Paul Kalungi that is catching the entire Senegal defense offside. Wanyama tried that early on in the game, but not enough. But now, the number 18 player, Tony Lanove.
Lanove will be pretty disappointed, having come on as a substitute and now will not be able to finish the game. And yet, going ahead to allow Uganda a chance to level up as the captain, Arthur Ivan Magom, goes into the man of the mountain stance. He's already missed one here, but this time makes absolutely no mistake. And ladies and gentlemen, with 9 minutes left to play in this game, we have a game on our hands. 23 23. Talk about the hosts making sure everything stays right on the nail's edge.
They're doing their best to finish the tournament on a high. Did not start well against Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe are into the final. You get the feeling that maybe they would be in that 4 p.m. kickoff, but fate has thrown them that early midday kickoff, and they have 9 minutes to play. And see if they can come from behind and get such an emphatic victory.
At this rate, I might dare say 4 p.m. doesn't suit Uganda. Keep them at midday. They seem to be doing pretty well there. The fans turning up in numbers. As Anesta Kolebirungi earlier on pointed out, Sunday is not a rugby day for Uganda. It's normally Saturday. But, well, big occasion demands big sacrifice, and the Ugandans have not shrinked away from their 16th man duty. Chance here for a kick from Paul Kalungi. Doesn't roll out as expected, and it's quickly picked up here by Sal Ameth. On from Mamadou Ndiaye, the fullback looking to release, but quickly caught into the whiplash of the Ugandans. Still a possession. Chance here, Cheksana, one of the substitutes who came on, and looking to hand off to Demba, captain. Brought down. Senegal gaining territory within the 22. Uganda trying to make sure they keep a beady eye here as Apu Sai tries to break the lines. Held out. Navi moment as they can't deal with Demba. Captain here. Skip, hop, drop. Senegal still in possession. Dive in. The referee says carry on. Uganda keeping a tight line. Another chance, and the first line of defense holds strong for the hosts.
Looks like Senegal setting up to go for the drop goal.
Heavy impact here, and looking to squeeze away, and there's a drop on the ball. Oh la la! Oh la la!
What an attack from Senegal, but what defense from Uganda, and cheers and hugs for that man, Arnold Ochen. Try saving tackle. Diaye coming off the angle, cuts past Paul Kalungi, then Brian Wandera makes that tackle rather. What a try saving tackle from Brian Wandera, forcing the handling error and rescuing Uganda.
Once again, the rookies making sure that business is done. And Paul Kalungi Wilfred getting a moment here as rugby royalty will grace this game. Continue to watch on. In the meantime, one of the voices that you consistently hear as there's medical attention given to the skipper of the most successful rugby club in Uganda, Charles Uhuru Odong, captain for the Platinum Heathens, gets a bit of medical attention. The voice you're hearing on that microphone is probably one of the most successful rugby players in the nation. Definitely one supposed to be in the Hall of Fame. A certain Alan, the speedster, Musoke.
I think Alan Musoke, more popularly known as Soki, is one of the greatest rugby cranes players. He has qualified to be a legend, won the Africa Cup in 2007, won the Elgon Cup during his playing days. Only a few of the players on this pitch have managed to come close to that. I think should be Asuman Mugerwa and Joseph Aredo that have, and perhaps Charles Uhuru that have won that elusive Elgon Cup. But what a legend. And to see that they've stepped aside men like Alan Musoke, men like Timothy Mudola, who is running water for this team. They've stepped aside, but the team has stayed competing at a high level. Success has eluded them, but they're still winning to the fight, and Uganda Rugby Union hopes to go back to those successful days.
For the rest of the world and Africa at large, there's a very fierce rivalry known as the Elgon Cup, as Uganda normally takes on Kenya. Nice step away and eventually running into traffic. That was a brilliant sidestep there coming in from Arnold Ochen. Clearly a young man enjoying his debut. Oh wow, what a dream start. What a dream start to his national team career.
The chain there, the more he plays at this level, the more he will learn, but you'd expect the winger on the outside to cut back in, otherwise the defense will force you into touch. He runs out of grass and gives away line out to Senegal.
Ernest, will we address the elephant in the room? 5 minutes left to play according to the clock, and we are all tied. I know you must have read the rule book. What happens next?
We'll go into extra time, play extra time of 20 minutes each half, and should there be no difference after those 20 minutes, we'll just need to check again if it's sudden death or if they play the entire minutes. But if the two teams are not separated, then we will go into
Edging closer to the end of the game.
and at that point then it's up
Keep
to the
chanting for
determine
whatever
the
team you're supporting.
We'll just need to check that again to determine whether it's you play all the 40
They wait for
minutes
next mixture until game.
or into sudden death after the 80.
Well, I'll tell you, I had the misfortune of calling a game where we all assumed it would be extra time, but the rule book talked about a coin toss, a very, very famous game. I think it was the semi-finals of the sevens where Cops were playing Heathens. We didn't see it coming. We did not see it coming. Big kick coming in here from Joseph Red Aredo.
Put it straight into touch, Aredo.
Senegal with a lot of urgency here. Seem to realize, as the scoreboard tells them, 76 and 38 seconds counting. Meanwhile, the 16th man making the presence felt here. These Ugandans can sometimes really make it almost unbearable to go against them. Line out. Looks like it will be man on the end. Check. And the ball is kicked away. Chance to pick up here. Ahmed Sal goes for the tennis kick and chase. But Paul Kalunji waiting here. Brought down instantly. And there's a bit of a real scrumming. A real digging.
The Senegalese kickers have been caught offside in that kick tennis. Paul Kalunji was isolated. Could have given away a penalty that hands the victory to Senegal, but now Uganda will return the favor of Senegal's pressure in their own 20-goal line-out. Good kick from Joseph Aredo inside the Senegalese red zone.
I will make a disclaimer on my next comment, ladies and gentlemen, especially those that do not live in the tropics. In Uganda, this period is popularly known as
malaria time. This is when you get to bite your nails. This is when you get to feel the favor. This is when the fans stand up and find their voice.
It's the moment that those that are faint of heart will turn their eyes away from their screens. It's that moment when those that are in the stands that can't take the hit will find a respect there coming in.
They should go for the option to kick, but unfortunately they've lost the ball to a quick turnover. Opportunity for the drop goal was there, and Uganda have not taken it. But to level matters at 23-all.
Match the haste. Goal for the kick. Close.
There's no sudden death in this one. We will be playing
23 full time, 80 minutes.